You put your money in a bag and you turn around and it's all gone? Well, that's what he's saying here. Verse 7, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways, go to the mountain and bring wood and build a house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith the Lord. You looked for much, and lo, it came to little. And when you brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why, saith the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is waste, and you run every man unto his own house. Therefore the heaven over you is stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. And I call for a drought upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands. Now what he's saying here is, God is in control of your finances.
Wow.
Did you get that? God's the one in control. And you say, oh, no. God, I'm in control. I've got this good job. I'm the one that does the work. Oh, yeah? Wonder how you got to a mind that was good enough to go out and learn something to get a good job like that. Wonder where you got the health to be able to go to work. God can take it away from you real quick.
Yes, sir.
I preached this type message a long time before we had the financial down. Anybody notice we had a financial downturn back a couple of years ago? And I used to say, God's in control. And in my mind I was saying, boy, these people got 401ks and they got retirement plans and everything, and they're set and going to be okay. And boy, maybe God didn't have anything to. And then what happened? A lot of them got wiped out.
Yeah.
And their 401, boy, I lost a lot of money. I think I lost $7.36. God's in control. God's in control. God's in control. And I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to tell you probably several times before this is over, God didn't promise to make you rich.
Right.
God never promised you to make you rich.
That's right.
These name it and claim it fellas evidently haven't read the Bible.
Wow.
How much did Paul have?
Ooh.
He didn't have anything. Well, what was wrong with him? Didn't he know to claim it, name it and claim it, and have houses and land and horses and stuff to ride around on? He didn't have anything. Look at the people in the Bible. They were nothing in the New Testament because they had given their life to the Lord. But the Lord took care of them and gave them what they needed.
Yes, sir.
Now let's go over to the book of Malachi. Malachi chapter 3. I think this one's funny. Verse 8. Malachi is the last book in the Old Testament, by the way. If you get to Matthew, you've gone too far. Back up one. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8. It says, will a man rob God? That really seems funny to me. Here's the God of heaven sitting on his throne, and here comes in a guy with a mask and pulls out a gun and says, stick him up, God. I'm here to rob you. Does that make any sense?
No.
What in the world is he talking about? Rob God. Well, God's going to tell you here. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? Uh-oh. In tithes and offerings. And let me explain to you about a tithe. A tithe means 10%. 10 cents out of a dollar. $10 out of $100. That's a tithe. You can't have an 8% tithe. You can't have a 12% tithe because the word tithe means 10%. Does that make sense? So God says, and by the way, people say, well, tithing is not taught in the New Testament. All right, show me somewhere in the Bible a lesser amount of giving than a tithe. I don't think you can find it. But I say what you can find in the New Testament. Remember what's the little guy's name climbed up in the tree?
Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus said when he came down, Jesus said, I'm going to your house today. He said, Lord, I'm going to give half of what I have. So you can give half of what you have and be scriptural, but you can't give less than 10% and be scriptural. Remember the old lady that went into the temple and she had 2 mites, which were nothing? She had 2. She could have given 1 and kept 1, but she gave both of them. She gave 100% of what she had.
Yes, sir.
Jesus said that lady gave more than all the big wigs that came by and put a bunch of money in that day.
Yes, sir.
So you can give 100% and be scriptural, but you can't give less than 10% and be scriptural because it's not in there. So the least amount of giving taught in the New Testament is a tithe. Now anyone can tithe. So I don't make very much. Well, if you don't make very much, you don't give very much. Of course, you give it a percentage. And God wants it first.
Wow.
He don't want to wait and see if you got it left over. He wants it out of the first. He wants the first fruits. He wants you to give it first. And you say, well, I can't afford to. Well, I've learned through experience that I can live better on 90% with God's blessings than I can live on 100% without God's blessings. If you don't believe me, try it and see. Well, that's what it's going to say. He's going to try me. Just try it out. Try me and see. Now then, well, let's go on here. Wait a minute. Then he says, you've robbed me in tithes and offerings. So there's a tithe, and then above the tithe, there is an offering that's an undesignated amount. We have all kinds of offerings. There are some offerings right there that you took to build a shed, right?
Yes, sir.
Those were offerings that you took. That was above your tithe, and you gave for something special. Missionary come, we take up a love offering for him. That's an offering above our tithe. You understand what I'm saying? So there's tithes, the 10%, and then we give offerings on top of that for whatever reason, and there's lots of different kind of offerings. But we give offerings above the tithe for whatever reason. Now you say, well, wait a minute. How about this robbing God?